Welcome to Stop My Crisis. I'm your host, Vivian Gaspar. Have you gone through some major struggles in your life, not knowing what to do next? So many of us have had major struggles in our life. Maybe we're still going through them. Here with us today is someone who's faced two significant struggles and is here to share her story with us now. Kim Tuon Mennella is a survivor of the Khmer Rouge Cambodian genocide, which ended in 1979. She arrived in America at age 9, not speaking any English, as a refugee of war. She is also a survivor of domestic violence and has thrived and is a successful CEO and founder of Girani Solutions, an IT consulting company. She believes that strife and domestic violence are events from her past which do not define who she is. She has a passion to help others out of their abuse and to make what seems impossible now possible. Kim, congratulations.
Thank you.
Keep pushing yourself forward, getting through those major event crises that no one knows how you even did it. But can you please bring us back to those moments in your childhood?
Yes, certainly, and thank you for having me here today. A long time ago, if I could just go back a little bit, because this took place in the 1970s, this was the Khmer Rouge genocide that took place for about 4 years, where about 3 million people were systematically murdered. I was a child at that time and defenseless. There wasn't anything I did, there wasn't anything a lot of people did, but we just happened to be in the country when all this was going on. And this is when the people, Pol Pot, he was trying to instill communism into the countryside and also purge the countryside of, and they were practically doing ethnic cleansing. And luckily, I was meant to survive because I got shot at multiple times with my family. I even got cut with a machete. And there were times when we were just so hungry. The devastation, the land, there's just no food anywhere.
How did you survive? Did your parents help you find something to eat, just on the ground? I mean, what did you do?
My mom at the time, she was young, she was in her 20s, she had 3 girls, me being the oldest, and my middle sister was about 6, and my baby sister was about 2 years old. She had my baby sister strapped to her chest the whole time, and she was a cook. So what she had to do at that time, now if she had gotten caught, she would have been killed. But what she used to do is she used to sneak little bits of food. And it would be just a little bit, just so she doesn't get in trouble, and she would sneak it to us and just help fed us that way. My mom is amazing. What she did after the war, during the war, because they took my father away, he went to a different camp. I was sent to a different camp. She was sent to work, and my little sister was to a different camp to work. It became like a concentration camp. And what she used to do is just take a little bit of food, a little at a time.
You were 6 years old. What is it they had you doing in this camp?
Well, you know, before they took over, we were going to school. We were thriving, we were going to school to learn. When they took over, complete drastic change happened. At that time, all I remember is that all of a sudden we were not supposed to wear color. Black top, black pants. That's it.
You could never have done this. Then it's beautiful, beautiful yellow jacket.
It's bright. It's happy colors.
Yes. People should be happy, especially children.
Absolutely. And they had us all cut our hair this short, and we were supposed to salute, which I later learned, only coming to America, that was the Hitler salute.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? For all the people who don't have any awareness of the history in that area at the time. So you were talking about ethnic cleansing. For those of us watching, tell us a little bit about what was the systematic ethnic cleansing for? What was the reason, very briefly?
Sure. Pol Pot was sort of the founder, the mastermind behind everything. What he did was, he went out and he got a lot of people. It built from one small person to 2, 10, 20. They became thousands, and they were just after to clean people. They just want pure Cambodians, just like Hitler did. They just want pure Russians in Germany. They didn't want any Jewish people mixed in that. They did the same thing here. So anybody who, bordering country, who were half Vietnamese or half Chinese or half Thailand, those people, if they had a skin color that was lighter than a pure Cambodian, they were targets. And they systematically murdered teachers, doctors, police officers, government officials, and even monks, because to them, anybody who had those types of intelligence and education, they couldn't revolt against them. So what they did was they got rid of anybody who could potentially do an uprising.
So tell us about your family. You survived. How did you get to America at this point?
Sure. When the war ended, this is like 4 years after the fact, and devastation in the land, and we were starving, the Vietnamese invaded. And during that time, the Khmer Rouge ran off to the mountainside. People either stayed in the village, went back home, or leave. A lot of people went to Vietnam. Some of us went to Thailand. I'm one of the people that went into Thailand. We were flocks of people. I don't even know to this day who led the group, but there were hundreds of us flocking with the team, and you have to make sure you don't get left behind. When the whole group sleeps, you sleep. When they wake, you wake. Wherever you go, you gotta go with them, because to get targeted by either any of the soldiers, Khmer Rouge, those were devastating. So we traveled to Thailand, and around this time, around 1979, 1980, there was an act that was passed in America that allows refugee of war to be able to go into different countries. And through a lottery system, once we got into Thailand, we got picked to go from there to the Philippines and then to the United States in California.
So they had 2 lotteries.
Yes.
So I really believe that you were meant to be.
Yes.
You were meant to be saved. You were meant to survive. You're here now. You're here to give us a lot of hope. But what is the next situation? So how old were you when you finally arrived to America?
I was 9 years old.
You were 9.
And I didn't speak any English, not whatsoever. I didn't even know yes or no. So there were a lot of people who made fun of me at that time. So I faced a lot of racism because I was sort of the part of the Asian community, the new groups of people that are entering into America. So lots and lots of racism, lots of bullying, lots of name calling. These are like kids my age that followed me home, and they just want to beat me up. And I was a twig at the time.
So how did you survive that whole bullying situation?
Well, I had to tell a lie. At that time in the 1980s, Bruce Lee was very popular. His movies are all over the place. So I told him, look, you stop picking on me, you stop pulling on my hair, you stop telling me to go back to China, or I'm going to get my cousin Bruce Lee to come.
Now that's creative and innovative.
Yeah, certainly. I am still innovative to this day, but that did it though, because they were afraid of Bruce Lee, but they didn't know that he's not related
to me. And that worked.
Yeah,
congratulations for being so smart and creative.
Thank you.
Your mother must have been very proud of you.
Yeah.
So time goes on, you're a teenager.
Yes.
So now you're 16, 17 years old. What's going on in your life?
Well, what happened here is that my father was starting a thriving business, and then he had brain aneurysm.
Oh.
He died very, very suddenly.
Wow.
And at that time, at 16, 8 years into the country of not speaking English, I was his translator, because we didn't have a translator at that time, and my mom didn't speak English. So imagine being 8 years into the country, just learning how to speak. It took me 3 years to get at that same grade level. Here I was translating medical doctors. I was the translator for my mother when he got really, really sick, and he died very quickly. Unfortunately, it devastated our family because my mom was left with 5 children, not speaking any word of English. So at that time, my mom decided the best thing to do is marry her off. That's part of our tradition.
You marry you off.
Marry me off.
You're the oldest daughter.
Yes. Go save the family. That's the family reputation. You go get married. And I didn't want to.
Was it an arranged marriage?
It was an arranged marriage,
Now,
yes.
does that mean if it's an arranged marriage, was there a dowry? I mean, what was the benefit to her to do that, besides having less mouths to feed?
Yeah, there was a dowry, and they do some negotiations. So this is all arranged with the elders. I believe this is still being practiced today. In some communities, this worked great.
And that was here in America. So there is arranged marriages in America.
Still happening.
And there is some kind of dowry, like she got something for you marrying this man.
Yes.
And was he older than you?
He was 10 years older, so he was 27.
And you were 17?
I was 17, and I was just...
Were you still in high school?
I was still in high school, and when we got married, I was in high school, and a couple years after that is when I graduated.
So he did let you, even though you were married, he allowed you to graduate high school?
He did, yes.
Did you go to college since you were married? Did he allow that?
He didn't want me to, but I fought for it. So every time I fight for certain things, there's going to be some retribution. But I just said, you know what, education is really important to me. So I continue on to school.
But wait a second. You were married. You were 17, getting 18. What do you mean by retribution?
Meaning if I were to... Because he was so dominating and so controlling, he was afraid that if I go to school, I might meet somebody, I may have an affair, I might run away. So there's all these insecurities that goes on in his head. So instead of allowing the partner to really be prosperous and supportive, He's trying to control and put me in this hole.
We're going to take a little break and find out a lot more about what happened to you at such a young age, being an arranged marriage. We're going to come back after this short break and see more of what happened to Kim and how she survived.
Are you disappointed by your tax returns? By maximizing your tax refund, you can look forward to less stress, more valuable life experiences, more stability. Kendall Ludden, tax preparer and refund strategist. He's here to help.
Welcome back to Stop My Crisis, and I'm here now with a very courageous woman who's telling us about how she was sent off to live with a man 10 years older than her through an arranged marriage here in America. Kim, how did it escalate? What happened next?
Well, the thing is, my mom thought she was doing the right thing.
Of course.
And her intentions were good. It's just that this person was a monster, and I just didn't know it. And there were a lot of promises that were made. I bought into it. I was young. I didn't know. I was naive. And before I know it, I was in a situation where he's beating me. And very controlling all the time, doing all kinds of things to kind of stop me from growing, from moving forward, from going out, from connecting. These are, now that I look back as a reflection, these were signs, all warning signs of somebody who's abusive, who's controlling, who wants to take over everything and limit you.
So wait, you said you got married at 17.
Yes.
How old were you when he first started hitting you?
I was 19 years old.
You were 19, and how you had a daughter from him.
Yeah.
How old were you when you had your daughter?
I was 18 and a half, going into 19. My daughter was just only 2 months old.
So the first time he ever beat you, you were with a 2-month-old daughter in the same room with you at the time?
Not only the same room, she was on the bed.
On the same bed. He seemed to have absolutely no care that his infant daughter was right next to you as he unfortunately beat you with fists.
Yeah, he did. He climbed, we got into an argument, one thing went to another, it was heated, and whatever it was that he had, rage, not sure what spurred him to do that, he just climbed on top of me, pinned me down with both knees, and he just started to punch me like a punching bag. And only stopped, I guess, when he got tired, because I certainly could not defend myself when he pinned me down like that.
Did you have to go to the hospital? What was the outcome?
Well, the thing is, the way he did it, he scared me so much. So when you're going through an abusive relationship, the first time you ever get hit, the first time you ever get that slap or punch, you go into this shock. You go into this shock. You just cannot believe that this person that you love did it. And what he did was he threatened that if I called the police, he would make sure that I was dead before they arrived.
So you weren't able to go to the hospital?
I did not go to the hospital.
You didn't break your nose or jaws? Or
my face, I think it took about 3 weeks before all the black and blue, the purple, the brown, everything yellow faded away. And my ears were ringing for a couple weeks. And he scared me so much, I didn't dare call 911. I didn't dare tell my mother. I didn't dare tell anybody. And here's the sad part to all of this. We were living in an apartment that shared with other people. Other people were there when it happened, and they didn't get involved.
They knew?
They were right there when they saw it all happen. They went and they hid. Maybe they got too scared too. They saw what he did. They saw him dragging me out of the house with no shirt, and he slammed the door shut and he locked it. But they didn't do anything. And this is what happened to me for 6 years that I was in this situation, is that after that initial beating that he gave me, everything was done hidden. Like, didn't leave the marks, like don't hit the face, the arms, or anything like that. It was just other ways that he did that I can't really share.
Wow.
And the psychological and the verbal and all of the stripping of whatever self-confidence I had is just gone.
Did he also force himself?
He did.
Physically, sexually?
He did. In fact, in order for him to get to that point, he would torture me with pain. He would grab and pinch certain private areas, and he would just twist and turn until I am in so much pain that I just say, fine, go, whatever. And those were torturous moments. And I'm a very strong-willed person, so I would take whatever I could take until I could take no more, and then I just said, fine.
So people usually think that if you're married, how can your husband rape you? You're married. How is that possibly rape? So your husband, you were young, like 20, 21 years old after a certain time. He actually did rape you as your husband. Is that correct?
That is correct, right? So you're into a relationship, but it's got to be consensual. It's got to be consensual. If the other partner is saying, no, I'm not in the mood, or I can't do it, or whatever reason, when the other partner forces that person to on and then start using physical force, that's rape.
Even if you're married?
Yes.
Did you have any physical traumas to you because of it?
I probably did, but I never went and saw. I never went to the hospital. I never did any of those things. Number one, one of the things was I was scared and fearful of what he would do, but I was also ashamed. I was also ashamed. I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed by those people who live with us that he did this to me. What kind of person was I to have somebody beat up on me? I'm so weak. I couldn't fight him back, and all these things were all self-blame. That me at that point start blaming myself for all these things that happened to me when it's really him. And it took me a long time to really understand. Wait a minute. He did this stuff to me.
He was doing criminal actions to you. Even, you're married, but it's still criminal.
Yeah.
How did you leave? What caused that?
Well, the gut feel, the intuition. I believe that it is so important that we all trust what our gut is telling us before our mind. Because sometimes our hair stand on end, our body is saying, hey, something is going to go down, something's bad. But our mind's going to say, no, you're just imagining things, forget it. We rationalize. But what I did that day was that I had that gut feel. This is like 6 years of abuse.
So were you working at the time? Did he ever let you get a job?
He eventually let me get a job because he sabotaged 3 or 4 interviews. And eventually, because we were low on money, he just let me go ahead and have the job. And thank the gods I had the job, because what eventually happened is I actually went to my managers at that time and told them what happened. And this is something I carry with me for 6 years. I carried it inside me. I didn't tell anybody. No one. I spoke to no one.
Not your mother, sisters?
Nobody.
Family at all?
No friends, nobody. It told no one. Until that one day, I just had too much and I was scared. And I finally told my boss. And thank the gods I did, because I met an angel on earth. His name is Grumpy, Tom.
Grumpy.
the Grumpy Scott. Yeah.
You call him that, the Grumpy Angel.
And he truly is an angel. Unfortunately, he passed away already, but his wife was also so helpful. He said to me, and here's the thing, he used to be in the Army, and he does not like anybody beating up on women. He so hates that. He just said, look, when you're ready, when you are ready, and you are scared and you think your life is in danger, you come to me. I will show you a way. I will show you a place where it's safe. And it was that kind of support, that kind of involvement at my work that actually gave me a chance to say, wait, I can get out.
So now it's a good message to people who are small business owners or managers. If they could just see that someone is in pain who works for them, works under them, reports to them, that they could take that effort. Maybe it's calling a hotline. Maybe it's making the motions themselves. Giving them maybe a place to stay in their sofa, whatever it is, to help another human being. And in your case, you had a baby daughter, or a very young daughter at the time.
Yes, and what happened was we talked very quickly, and this is all in the same day. I quit my job. He helped me make arrangements, right? Or I had 2 managers. They helped me make arrangements with HR so that I could get my last paychecks, because I'm going to need that.
Right.
And I quit my job and packed up that day, took whatever money I had, and they were actually helping me sort of watch.
So he was,
where
your husband was not at home at the time.
He wasn't at home. He worked the shift, and they actually were watching if he was leaving the workplace, because I had to go
went
pack.
To his office or his workplace?
They were staying sort of the outside skirts, outside the building. They were watching, because if he had left, they had given me a cell phone to say, look, if he leaves the building, we're going to call you. You need to get out of there. You need to get out. They were watching. They were making sure, because I knew enough that it was very important that I leave before he arrived, because if I left at that time, it's going to get really bad. I really honestly felt that I was not going to survive another day if we didn't get out of there.
That is really the epitome of workplace intervention, because
Yeah.
it could also be someone's coworker. Just as easily, somebody who worked alongside of you as a colleague could have pulled you aside and helped you.
Yes.
So it's really wonderful that somebody could be so thoughtful and caring as a human being to do that for you.
Absolutely.
It's really also, you had a lot of courage to do that, that you did that for you and changed your daughter's life. Because now, where's your daughter?
My daughter, I'm so proud of her. She is a registered nurse. She works at one of the prominent hospitals in the country, and she saves people's lives. Every day she's making a difference.
She wouldn't be here possibly, though, if
Yeah.
you didn't do what you did.
I used to call her, she's my angel, she's my inspiration. She's the one that pushed me to say, look, you can do this, as scared as you are, you gotta do this for her. So she's amazing. I'm so proud of her.
Well, I'm proud of you for doing that.
Thank you.
We're going to take another little break and come right back and find out more of Kim's exemplified courage.
Anytime you can come into court and file for a change if there's a change of circumstances. We give an hour free consult. It's confidential. Find out what has to be done.
Welcome back to Stop My Crisis. We are here with Kim, a wonderfully courageous woman who's had to deal with 3 major crises in her life that she has escaped. Kim, we were just wrapping up talking before our break on how you managed to escape your very abusive first husband. Please tell us, what has your life been like afterward?
Oh, my life is amazing. It's amazing. There is happiness after domestic violence. There, you can certainly find somebody wonderful, trusting, supportive, and that's my husband, David. And we've been married now for about 15 years.
15 years? You've
Happily
found real
married.
life. And I'm assuming it's not an arranged marriage.
No, not at all, not at all. And we just kind of fell into it. We fell in love, and we fell hard, and it's been this way. We love being around each other 24/7.
Very, very wonderful to hear that. And
Yeah.
I know it's hard sometimes for people to find love and hope, especially if they're still in their abusive relationships.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for someone looking to get out? And once they're out, what kind of hope is there?
Well, once you get out, there are certain cues that you can look for in anywhere that it would take you back to where it is. So, for example, if you see the controlling nature that's in that person, you already could pick out certain examples in that person that they could be controlling. The way their possessiveness, jealousy.
Maybe they're telling you how to dress.
Oh
or
yeah,
what
how to
they buy
dress,
you
how to
clothes.
spend, they buy you clothes. That's even worse. When they buy you clothes, is that they want to put you in this outfit and nothing else.
What if they make it seem like, oh, I just love you so much, I just want to treat you to nice clothes and shoes?
And that's just how you easily fall into that, because before you know it, you lose your identity. This person is dressing you, whether it's jewelry, clothes, shoes, whatever it is, this person's already started to kind of form a different person of you. It's not who you are. So you can tell all of these.
Now that's about the warning signs if you're going forward to date again after you've already escaped. But the person you just escaped from, is it possible that they might not just say, okay, she's gone, or he, if there's person's a male victim,
Yeah.
but what happens? Do they ever go after and look for the person who left?
Good question, because you know what? That's exactly what happened to me, because he did look for me for a couple years. He went to my friends, he called my mom, he went to my employment, he started asking around, and he did this for a while, even when with the restraining order in place.
Even with the restraining order, does that ever end badly? I mean, this is really a true and a serious danger for women?
It could, because a lot of women, not all, there are some women, because there are children involved, because that's the love of their life, they try to make all kinds of excuses that this person's going to change. And that's exactly what they're going to say. I'm so sorry, I won't do that again. I lost my temper, I did this, I did this. And they tend to go back, and this is where the murder rate goes up, because once they go back, they do it 10 times harder.
You mean the murder rate? So a lot of times you're saying that the women are hunted down after they've had the courage to leave,
Yes.
And that's where they could get killed?
Exactly.
Tell us about that.
So the key thing is, for me, when I left, I went into hiding. So don't reveal any of my address. When I left, for 6 years, I didn't tell anybody anything. The day that I actually told my family and friends, I said, look, I've got to go, or you won't see me anymore, but I cannot give you my phone number or my address. I will contact you, and that's it. You can't ask me anymore. Many people don't do that. They don't know that you're not supposed to give out your information, or they're still using their cell phone.
Or social media.
Cell phone and social media, because now you can track your phone, or they're using the same credit cards that was there before. These are different ways that your abuser can track them down. And there are actually shelters out there that can take people off the grid. But not every victim knows that there's resources that's out there that helps you do all of that. So it's very, very important to understand all these key pieces for anybody right now who are in this situation where they felt like they're being beaten on, their life is in danger. Do the research. I understand that you have to be very, very careful and not let your abuser see this, but if there's a way to do your research and get the education, tons of information, even at the library, those are key, and develop an escape plan.
And ask for help. Maybe ask a friend, ask a relative, ask a coworker, ask your boss. Reach out and ask people.
That's
they
right.
might help you, and
That's
usually
right.
they usually will. But your life, inspire us.
Thank you.
Do you have a business now? You have mentioned.
Yes. So aside from being married, I've got 2 other kids from that relationship. So I have my 3 beautiful children, and I have been in the information technology project management space now for about 2 decades.
Wow.
I manage multi-million-dollar projects, so I lead a lot of major complex projects. And I am the CEO and founder of my own company. It's called Jirani Solutions. Jirani is a rare jewel. That's the translation in Cambodian for that word. And I'm able to be on my own, make 6 figures, do a pretty decent job of raising my family, and establishing myself, my confidence, my ability, and also learn so many, many wonderful skills in education and meet a lot of network. And what I'm looking to do now, or I've started doing this, is actually putting together programs to be able to help people with coaching. Like the Woman Impossible Living Life program, short for WILL. It's supposed to help women in crisis, people in crisis, men in crisis, in those situations make breakthroughs, and also take that leap. Take that leap, take action. If you know you're in danger, make that decision to leave.
And you could be a coach for these individuals who are currently being victimized.
Exactly.
Or if they just got out and they need a support system, you could be their support system
Yes.
through your coaching. And nowadays with Skype or Zoom,
It's possible.
You could be anywhere in the world. I mean, we currently air this TV show in over 30 countries.
Wow.
And we're seen by hundreds of millions of people, and any one of them can reach out to you through Skype, through Zoom, and you can connect with them.
Exactly.
They could find you, and then you could help them get a much better life like you have.
Yeah, and it's an online coaching program, just like you said. Yes, it's all virtual. And what I'm embedding into this, because I do martial arts, because this is sort of my 360 to be the person that I am before all this stuff happens, is to integrate self-defense moves into these videos as bonuses for anybody who signs up. Because you know what? You may be aware, you may not know, but not everybody knows. There's so many facilities out there that you can go learn some basic self-defense.
In your business, how else do you help people?
I actually have a program called Success Engineer, so that's actually engineering your life for success. So if you want to improve, enhance, and reinvent yourself, engineer it. Rebuild your life process in itself, and it's for men as well as women, and it's also for business. It's for small entrepreneurs or large companies to be able to do that work. So I'm very excited about this program because I'm launching masterminds that I'm going to be rolling out to different parts of the country. So this is more that's coming in tune, and I've got a book in me. There's going to be a book rolling out, and I'm very excited about that.
Excellent. That's really helpful that you've had these different facets to what you can offer. And thank you so much for watching this episode of Stop My Crisis, and that is how you stop your crisis.